The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Boy, keep up. You know they call me the Nighthawk. And this, of course, is the Am Nighthawk Podcast. What's going on? How y'all doing this evening? I'm ready to talk to you guys after a little vacay. Not so much a vacay, but just, with the situation being what it is with my health, and we'll get into that immediately after this intro. Still not quite where I need to be more consistent with the podcast, but we're working on it. It is an ongoing process. We will talk to you about that momentarily, but I want to shout out everyone who is checking us out here, either on the Facebook or on the YouTube page, Nighthawk Network Detroit. We appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you very much. Let me deal with the technical difficulties right quick here, and we will go from there, my friends. All right. Good evening. Good evening. We are here to talk to you about a few topics that's been on my mind. As you know, they call me the Nighthawk because I'm up late at night doing all types of things, considering things, doing a lot of thinking, praying, discussing things of that nature because brother just don't sleep good. So thus, Nighthawk was born and here I be. That being said, we're going to talk to you about some of the things going on in my mind. We will talk about my health. We will also talk about the latest in what's going on in the saga that is DT, as I will call him, also known as the Orange Clown. You know him as our former president. I have some thoughts on that. We will also get into a little bit of what's going on in the situation regarding the women's tourney, women's college basketball, some of that scenario. And also, I will go ahead and give you a little thought process, preview of the latest season of Power Book 2. If you have not been watching, let me tell you, you are missing a great season of the show. And I will give you some of my thoughts. We'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum. And keep in mind, I have not seen episode 3 as of yet, but definitely looking forward to that. Probably watch that soon after this podcast. So if you guys want to catch it after that, feel free, and hopefully I can tell you enough to convince you to check it on out. But this is the I Am Nighthawk Podcast. I am your host, Ebuck, your boy. And let me first get into what's been going on with me. As you know, in recent months, I have found out I have heart condition known as AFib. Also had a little situation with the liver that is working out very well. Bathroom is flowing very well at this point, a little too well, in fact, thanks to the medications and such. But I'm still adjusting to the medicated life, basically having to take several pills a day. From day to day, it has me feeling sometimes good, sometimes not so good. Also, from day to day, my energy levels, they kind of vary. Today was kind of a in between. I think the weather also played a factor in some of that as well. So I had to be mindful of that also in dealing with this. So I do have some doctor's appointments this month where I should get some better information, perhaps make some adjustments to medications and such. Also seeing a sleep clinic this month, so my rest situation might be a little bit better after having that discussion and probably more than likely obtaining a CPAP machine. Once again, we'll get to that as we get closer to that appointment and my discussions about that there. But all in all, I'm doing better. The weight loss. I don't know, for those of you who have seen me recently and noticed I have lost a nice amount of weight. I'm down about 40 pounds. And we have set the outlandish goal at this point to try to get down to 100 pounds by the end of the year. Hey, we did 40 in 8 to 9 weeks. Why not? Go for it. That will put me somewhere in the mid 250, late 240s. That would be the lowest I've weighed since college. So that ought to be real interesting if we can get there. We're going to try. We're going to put forth a quality effort. That's all it really takes. The diet is going well. I have some days where I kind of fall off. If you've seen what I had today, I wouldn't say it was a fall off, but it wasn't quite as healthy as I had been eating, but it was pretty good. The chicken queso, you can check that out on my Facebook or the IG to see what it was looking like. But all in all, I am doing better, and we got to take it day by day. That's all we can do. We can't sit here and dwell on okay, what if and what can. Until we get a better feel and better understanding of how this thing is going to work here in my new normal. We got to do what we got to do. So that being said, that's what's going on with my health. Thank you to all of you who have been inquiring and checking on me. I appreciate you very much. Also, thank you to all of you who have been helping me out along the way, whether it be with words of encouragement or with some financial help or some aid with food and all that. To all of you, I thank you greatly. We are slowly but surely pulling it back together, and your guys' help definitely made that possible. So again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. Of course, I'm still dealing with the loss of my mother. Every day it's something different. You basically get reminded of something. It's kind of hard not to have those. Seeing the Nighthawk studio is what once was her household. So, it's kind of hard not to think of her at some point during the day. But, we're progressing with that as well. I miss mom, but I know she would want me to do what I can to be a better person, be a stronger person, gain some sense of normalcy and happiness in my life. So we are doing that. That being said, that's what's going on with my health. Now we are going to move on to the topic known as DT. That would be your good buddy, not mine, definitely not mine, but your good buddy, the former president of these United States. Now, of course, as you know, the big thing today was he was in New York to be arraigned on charges involving things in his past and payments to one porn star. You should know who she is by now, Miss Daniels. That name has been floated out there for days and weeks now. Basically, the thought process is he took campaign funds to pay off her and keep her silent in regards to whatever they did. Here's the thing, people. In an ideal world, when you do wrong, you should be punished for that. That's pretty much how that's supposed to go here in these United States. However, we are talking DT, the man who has lived that silver spoon life his entire life. Born rich, continues to be rich. Billionaire DT. The president like no other in that through all the non-accomplishments, through the impeachment once, not twice, through all the controversies, through the booting off of the social media platforms and all, he still manages not only to continue to be a presence in his party, the Republican Party, but a presence with many of you. Basically, they do the polls. They pretty much do every month. If the election was today, who would you vote for? And depending on who takes that poll, many of you would say, I'd vote for that guy. Let me tell you, people, it's three reasons why you say that. One, you say that because at some point during his administration, your money was great. You were doing well financially, and now not so much. Please don't blame all that on Joe Biden. Could he do a little better with it? Absolutely. He is not my favorite president right now, let me be honest. But in the same token, let us not forget COVID. COVID, people, it affected a lot in the time that it was very prevalent, particularly during the lockdowns and what have you. Now, Those of you that lived in states where they didn't lock down as much, what have you, that's on y'all. But bottom line is it did affect our economy, and it still is to this day. Do not credit Biden for things going wrong no more than you credit the previous president for what went right. He was an extension of what went on before him. Things were well in the second term of Obama, okay? People were doing well, and he just added on to that. Okay, yes, I understand for those of you who have money, and he did the tax breaks and whatnot. Oh, yeah, you love that. You definitely don't like the fact that they re-rolled him back and what have you. I get it. But when you look at his overall and what he did in terms of the country, do you really want 4 more years of that? Especially after you didn't put him back in office, an office who he still to this day claims he never really lost because he seriously won the election, that some 70 million votes were fraudulent, and he actually won by a landslide. If we really had that going on with the elections where 70 to 100 million votes were falsified and made incorrectly, you think the country got a problem now. You lost, bruh. You lost. And you do not deserve to be the president again. This is one of many reasons why. That being said, these charges that they have brought up against him, I don't think they're going to stick, y'all. And I think even if they do stick, even if he is found guilty, somehow, some way, he still will not spend not one solitary moment in a jail cell. Not simply because he was the previous president and being president has its advantages, you know that, but because he is who he is and he has on his team who he has on his team. Okay? And of course, the Democrats are not speaking out greatly for or against. Think about it. You set a very dangerous precedent if you, as a politician, are able to have to pay for your crimes in office after the fact. And that thusly puts you in a jail cell or worse. You as a politician, that's the last thing you want. You want to go serve the people for as long as you can and then leave office and go off into the sunset with your ill-gotten riches and such. You don't want to have to deal with things like Donald's dealing with now. And keep in mind, if there was a time in this life where you were going to say, yes, we are going to charge him with thus, this is the time. All these other cases that's pending, the Pandora's box has been opened. You might as well go there now. You might as well go ahead and say, okay, this is what we have on him. Let's go with it. Understand, from where I'm sitting, there are much stronger cases to be had to say that, yeah, this dude is not the right. This is why he is not in the right, particularly when you talk about his situation in Georgia where he tried to get the votes. We all heard the phone call, people. We all know the people and players involved. They talked to him. You put him under oath. Don't lie. Don't lie. He said it. You know he said it. He talked to you. You know he talked to you. There it is. We definitely know what went on with the January 6th situation and the Capitol riot. We all saw the speech, people. We all had the opportunity to look at the various congressional hearings in regards to that, and they put all the information and things out. If you're not familiar, YouTube is a fine tool to utilize to look all that up and see for yourself. You saw what he did. Now, for some of you, I am clearly wasting my breath. I know good and well that when all is said and done, despite all the vast evidence, including his talking points where he himself has said certain things, you could care less. You want that dude to be president no matter what. I think if he was to pass away today, you would still want his bones to be president. Understand that I would think in his master plan, he becomes president. He somehow tries to find a way to stay president. And if that don't work, he then works on getting Don Jr. to be president. And that is not good for our country. That is not good for our people, man. We should not want this. You should not want this. For those of you who actually are bold enough to tell me, yes, I am a Trump supporter, and this is why. When you come with your talking points and explain to me why, many of you, I'm not buying. There are a few of you that make some interesting points, but for the most part, I cannot have it. And in the end, some of you just see it, he is the lesser of two evils, not Joe Biden. Because understand, as I sit here right now, the only way I say, okay, let's go with Joe Biden at this point has been in the end, the alternative is either he or that fool DeSantis. Don't even get me started on Florida Governor DeSantis. Lord, no. That is definitely not the answer. Republican Party, if you have better options, by all means, bring them out. As an independent voter, I am willing to hear you out. If you have quality opinions and you are willing to diversify your opinions to not always fit your party, I think that is in the benefit of both Democrat and Republican to be able to truly have some bilateral and a Congress situation where both Republicans and Democrats can work together. You have to have the willingness to say, okay, I will hear you out, Republican Party, or I will hear you out, Democratic Party, and we will do what's best for the country, not what's best for the party. And trust and believe DT is not what's best for either. So as we go through the shenanigans, that was that situation today. And I'm sure by now, whatever speech he gave at Mar-a-Lago in regards to that, I'll check that out later. Will just add fuel to this whole fire. The foolishness will continue. In the end, he's not going to jail. Okay, so for those of you celebrating this moment in this day, was hoping to see the mugshot and all that. You see, he got out of all that, so you didn't see him in handcuffs or any of that. I mean, in the end, he went, he visited the police station, he went home. That's about the extent of it. You know, he'll probably do court and he'll plead not guilty, and somehow, some way, he's going to slick his way out of it. I honestly feel that. So I feel like in the end, I'm sorry to the city and the state of New York, but you are wasting a lot of tax dollars on something that's just not probably going to happen. Sad enough. Like I said, if you want to bring him up on some real charges that will stick, you will deal with some of these other stronger cases and put them all together, perhaps. And then, maybe then, that possibility will exist. Until then, there's only so much that can be done. That's my thoughts on DT. Remember, I'm supposed to be keeping my stress down, so I had to get that off my chest. And that's all I got to say on that. If you have any opinions or comments, either now or after in the rebroadcast, feel free to put them out there, and we will gladly discuss with you. In the meanwhile, good people, we're going to have a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a program that they are promoting here in the city of Detroit, and it's basically being watched by other cities in the nation to see if it actually has some legs, something that will work. I will put the thing out there, and we'll have a discussion. You guys let me know what you think. So in the meanwhile, these are I am your boy, the Nighthawk, and we'll be back after these fine messages from my people here in the Nighthawk Network.
We're not asking for your permission. We're not seeking your approval. We're claiming what's ours in the name of our ancestors. We are their answered prayers. This is more than a movement. This is a revolution. Black innocence. What are yours today?
Let's talk.
Hello. It's another glorious day, my T-Sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
Hey, what's going on? We are back. This is the I Am Nighthawk Podcast here live and direct from Detroit, Michigan. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. We appreciate you and we love you. We are here talking about several topics that's on my brain for the evening. The next topic on hand is we're going to talk about a program that started here in Detroit that's supposed to help to curb violence here in the city. It is called the Shot Stopper, the Detroit Shot Stopper, say that 5 times fast. And we're going to play a little clip of it here for you. And you guys, we will discuss after the fact, okay? So let us get it set up here. And here we go.
A progressive plan to clean up crime in Detroit. The $10 million price tag announced during the State of the City address last night. Shot Stoppers is a community violence intervention program engaging activists by offering performance grants up to $700,000. 7 Action News reporter Simon Shayket shows us who is already stepping up to answer the call.
How do you de-escalate when it's already at that point where things could turn violent?
I don't think anybody wants to die. I don't think them guys are already committed to murder. If they get something they can care about their own life, they didn't care about somebody else's life.
For Pastor Mo Hardwick, saving lives and promoting peace has always been a focus. Now he's doubling down on a new program offering funding to do that through the city.
Is it possible you get community groups to intervene to be shot stoppers?
Stop it before it gets there. I got a real plan.
Hardwick says conflict resolution, along with talking and finding common ground, can and will address challenges in some of the city's most violent neighborhoods. Today, we caught up with Deputy Mayor Todd Bettison to ask more about how federal funding will be used.
We're looking for community-based organizations, nonprofits. We're looking for violence interrupters that have been doing this type of work.
The deputy mayor says they plan to have their first round of organizations picked for this program by July 1st, with a review coming up just several months later. How do you measure progress, and how will payments be made based on that?
When they're in a 3 to 5 mile area, that neighborhood or those neighborhoods that they choose, if they beat the citywide trend by 10%, they'll get a performance bonus.
Bonuses can go even higher based on progress evaluations every 3 months, with an ultimate goal of saving as many lives as possible. Another activist, Sandra Turner Handy, who's channeled efforts in the 9th Precinct, laying out her clear vision.
We're all committed to making this a safe community. Our residents deserve to be able to walk their communities without fear.
You've seen our community activists, you've seen these groups actually come out, stand with the police, actually go into neighborhoods. We all know who they are.
For more information about the program and how to apply, go to WXYZ.com. From downtown, Simon Shayket, 7 Action News.
All right, there you have it. That is a brief explanation of the Shot Stoppers program here in Detroit. Basically, the plan is this. We know that violence is definitely an issue here in Detroit, as it is in most major cities, and we are trying to come up with some type of solutions to get the violence to stop, to curtail the violence, to make it be to a minimum so that we can enjoy our city and being a part of our city. There are many of our citizens, particularly our older citizens, that are afraid to not only come out at night, but be in certain parts of the cities, period. And that is not a good do. So the job of these Shot Stoppers is to somehow help to stop the violence before it starts. And what they're doing is they're offering grants to people and organizations that are saying, we have a plan that we can utilize that will help stop the violence. And if that plan works, they will receive more money and more grants to do more throughout the organization in the city. Now, here's the thing. They committed $10 million to do this program. And of course, the critics of it will say, what could you possibly do with this money to make these situations work? Now, my thing is this. In your average neighborhood, particularly the bad neighborhoods in Detroit, I don't want to call out nothing directly, but for those of you who live here in the city, you know certain neighborhoods that you just don't frequent no time of day, night, or otherwise. And you know why? You know certain spots, certain areas, certain households in that neighborhood that you don't want to be nowhere around because there is always some mess involved in those situations. We get that. Here's the thing. For those criminal elements in the city, that is many of their primary income. In order for them to eat, they rob, they steal, they cheat, they lie, they sell drugs, they sell their body, whatever the case may be. And that is how they make a living. So in order for them to stop what they're doing, they have to somehow be compensated. Are we going to use some of that money to basically pay them off? Is that going to work? I don't think so. I don't think that works. As you see, Pastor Mo, who is definitely an advocate of the city of Detroit, I love many of the things that he talks about in regards to the city. I love how he is utilizing his time and his services and mobilizing his people to do great things within the city of Detroit. Shout out to Pastor Mo. But I don't know what he can offer with those funds that's going to work short or long term in regards to how some people in our fair city or in other cities think in regards to crime. For some people, it's a way of life. And how do you get that person to change their ways to where they no longer feel the necessity to do such things? What amount of money does that? I think for some people, with the mindset that they have, I don't think even if they won the Mega Millions or the Powerball, they would stop doing what they do out here in these streets. I don't think any amount of money will stop them from feeling like, okay, this is what I need to do to solve my conflicts. I don't need a gun. I just need a little extra money, or I just need somebody to work with me to make it to where that is not so. We got to consider what causes a lot of these altercations. People, they have these things about each other where, okay, I don't want you to have if I don't have. That's the issue. You got to deal with that. Some people, they wake up really on the wrong side of the bed. They look for confrontation. I take, for example, the other night, the comedy special that was here in Detroit, the Our Last No Chaser with Earthquake and such. I heard there was fights within that particular outing. And that's sad because we have a lot of people come to the city this summer. And the last thing we want is for them to have their concert and they be noted for violent acts and such, to the point to where, okay, now these promoters do not want to bring the acts to the city just as the city is starting to grow and promote things. There are several hotels and such being built downtown, new restaurants and things, and there are other areas, the new center area that is coming up. They've been doing things on places like Linwood and Dexter and out in Chalmers and Mack and Charlevoix and all parts of the city. They are building and growing, and we want that to continue. It's going to be very hard to keep that momentum going if we now get surges in violence, very similar to the ones we have seen in Chicago, Washington, D.C., Houston, Memphis, and such. We do not want these things to continue. When we look at the situation, particularly in some of our African-American communities, I often say this, and it's often true. We are the worst enemy of we when it comes to some of these things. We have to find a way to say, okay, we really do need to stop the violence. It should not take to where, okay, now the violence has hit your doorstep, and this is the only reason why now you are concerned. You should be concerned about this every day. You should be able to say, okay, neighbor, no, it ain't that deep. Put the gun away, put the bats away. Let's not settle it this way. Let's try to talk this out, or let's take it down to the police station and figure it out, or whatever we need to do to where we don't have to make it go to that next step to where this is necessary. I would love people. I would absolutely love for this Shot Stoppers program to work and for people to then use that money to enhance their communities and their neighborhoods. That would be great. But I feel like ultimately it is a program that is doomed to fail because the attitude and the manpower and the thought process is necessary for it to truly work cannot be fully implemented by the people who are going to, or the organizations that are going to receive this money. I think some good could come out of it, true enough, but perhaps the $10 million of funding used from the Biden relief plan to fund this program could be better served in our communities in some other way, particularly in the inner cities where, we all will probably agree that we need to do a little bit more work in regards to building those up, getting rid of some of the blight, doing something with some of these abandoned schools and churches and such. And that, perhaps that money was better served to do that. But it's worth a shot. I do believe this is a 1-year program. They're going to see if it works. I mean, I should have basically did something to where you could see that map a bit more clearly of where they mapped out where the violence is coming from. Let me see if I can pull that up.
Area, that neighborhood, or those
Prevention program engaging activists.
Give me a second, y'all. Work with the vid for a second here. See if we can.
How will payments be?
That. Perfect. Okay. Note the map here, good people. Let me see if I can. Okay, the map there. If you notice the top portions of the map, those are the areas that are considered the most violent, where more of the violent acts have been created. Sadly, I do live in one of these areas, unfortunately. But those are the ones they want to concentrate on. Now, what I have noticed in my own neighborhood is the fact that there are a lot more police presence being available, particularly on the weekends, which I think will definitely help to some degree. But when all is said and done, particularly when we know that a good part of the violence usually takes place in the nighttime hours here, definitely there needs to be more focus on that by our law enforcement officials. And basically, if the organizations are looking to stop the violence, those organizations will need to focus primarily on those hours between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m., particularly on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, where it seems like a lot more of the horrific acts take place. Even in the downtown area that has been basically be riddled with police presence throughout. We got a lot of things coming up in the next couple of months. We got Janet Jackson coming to town, Taylor Swift, and a lot more comedy specials going on. The Tigers are back for the baseball season, and soon football and all that will follow. We want to, got Grand Prix and all that. We want all that to go smoothly. We want those things to be a situation to where we can look at them and enjoy them as residents of the city, and people come to enjoy them and have a good time and want to come back. That is what we want. That was what will help our city grow and perhaps get to a point once again where we are one of the not only the better cities, but the bigger cities. We can get back some people here in the long term, but we got to work on that problem because it is one of our bigger problems right now, curtailing the violence here in the city. It is just unnecessary and it's got to stop. And unfortunately, if this Crime Stoppers plan doesn't work, we'll have to come up with something else, and hopefully we come up with something. Or perhaps, the generations who feel the necessary to be violent will decide, okay, this ain't the city for me, and move on elsewhere and deal with it that way. I don't know. I think it's a good idea in principle, but I don't know if it's going to work. You guys let me know what you think. Like I said, again, if you want to leave something in the comments, do so. If not, you can always double back and check rebroadcast, and we can check out your comments then and address them at a later date. I'm good with that. Moving on, people, let's move on. My next item up for bidding discussion is what went on in the tournament, the basketball tournament, particularly the women's basketball Final Four tournament, the comments in regards to the "you can't see me" in the ring, in regards to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, people. Sadly, it is something that has become a much bigger issue than it should not have. In this day and age of sports, we tend to let me see. I got to dig for that word, people. It's a college word. We basically want to be like the people that we grew up watching. Let's put it that way. Let's break it down to layman's terms. And a lot of the athletes, both men and women, look up to the professional athletes in their genre, the people that they watch in the NBA, the MLB, the NFL. You watch their antics and you see how they, and all the little gestures, the too small. You get all that from them, and you want to emulate that in your own play. And that's all that really went on here. But now it's an issue because it is women athletes, and women are supposed to be more genteel and ladylike, I guess. In this day and age of 2023, where we're trying to bring across equality to all folks, men, women, and otherwise. But yet we get on them for doing things that they have seen the men do. The men do them. There's not this big outrage and outrage that has been the last few days. It's ridiculous, people. It's ridiculous. I'm going to get into it more in tune, not only in my program known as the Big Buck Sports Report, but also on the show known as Game Time Audible. For those of you that are familiar, you've seen the commercial earlier. It is our spot that we do our sports here on the Nighthawk Network. Me and my good partner in crime, that would be the one and only Hugh Lee. We will be doing that show Thursday this week. Please tune in. In the meanwhile, it's much ado about nothing. We gotta let it go. I mean, it's been all through the TikToks and the Twitterverse and all of that. And it's days later even. And we still having this discussion. It's crazy, folks. Let these people live. Keep in mind, it is great for the sport that more people are paying attention now to women's basketball. I'm looking very forward to next college basketball season as well as the next WNBA season. As many of these women that we are discussing are on the verge of either going to the WNBA or will be back for their senior and junior seasons in the NCAA. I think it's going to be a lot of great rivalries born from this tournament. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And that's what we should be looking forward to, the rivalries, the good play overall, not all this other fall overall that has been part of the discussion. I mean, bottom line, you have been watching because the ratings are the best they have ever been, and I am thankful for that. Women's basketball is starting to get its fair due in terms of it being a viable sporting option, and I appreciate that very much. We do finally have a comment popped up on the board here. Let's see who is checking in with us. We got my cousin, Dr. Marla Facey, checking in. Hey, cousin, what's going on? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please make sure you check out my cousin, Dr. Marla Facey, on her show that usually is on Mondays. That is No Weapon Formed Against Us. The promo that you sent me, cuz I'm trying to format that so I can put that in the lineup of the commercial promos. I hopefully will have that done sometime next day or so. If not, we got to figure out a way for you to send it to me so I can do it directly, perhaps in my email address. That would be helpful. But yeah, definitely make sure you check out her show, and then also check out the Monumental Moments in God's Word that she does weekly as well, to be a blessing to you all. We are very thankful for her being a part of this network, and I appreciate her both as a friend, colleague, and counselor in my life. Thank you very much, cuz you are appreciated. That being said, people, when we come back, we are going to finish up the show with a discussion of this season's episodes of Power Book 2, and also going to have a little brief discussion of my other favorite network show. What might that be? We'll figure that out once we come back. And check it out. We got a new promo for a young lady that I met today. Her name is Talisha Long Price, and this is her organization. If you are here in the Detroit area and you are in need of some of these services, please support. Hey, this is Eric Buckner here in the Nighthawk Network studios. And for those of you that have pet care, grooming, and vet needs, we want you to contact here in the Detroit area, Meet You There Pet Care. That's Meet You There Pet Care, LLC. The phone number is 313-471-4970. So for those of you that have pet care needs here in the Detroit area, please contact Meet You There Pet Care. They will get you situated with all your home pet care, grooming, and vet tech services. And do know that we want to promote all small and minority businesses here in the Nighthawk Network. Make sure you contact me on the Nighthawk Network Detroit page or on Eric Buckner Messenger or Eric Hawk 45 Instagram to get your thing promoted here on the network. Thank you. Have a good one.
Hey, that's his thing. Black on, he don't know Tom. Look at that, David Ford, that's his thing. He don't know Tom. Yeah. Yes. Oh, here we go. Oh, I can't see the demons. I can't see the demons, but I can see the light.
We are creating black luxury across this country.
Hey, what's going on? We are back. I am Nighthawk, Eric Buckner in the building. What's going on, good people? It has been a very, very good show thus far. We are going to finish it up this evening by having a discussion about the show known as Power Book 2. I've decided that this season I'm going to review from week to every other week at least about what's going on the show. It is definitely one of my favorite cable television shows right now. For those of you who are familiar with the original Power, basically the story about the drug dealer and his life and times, that being that of the man they call Ghost. We are now in Power Book 2, where we talk about his son and what he is going through in his life in terms of the drug world and such. So far, we are at episode 3. Very good season so far. Probably the best of any of the seasons thus far. A lot of manipulation going on, a lot of storylines to basically look into and expand and whatnot. If you remember the original series Power, if you are a true fan, I would say season 3 is pretty much when it really, really started to get good for Power. I think it is very much the case here. I like the blend of what they have going on with Tariq and his schoolmates, and of course with some people from the original show that are still part of the show. We got some new characters as always that they introduce into each season. This season seems to basically rotate around the Tejada family and the situation going on between them and Tariq and them in general. First 2 episodes, very good. I mean, particularly when you talk about the first episode and what happened in the last 5 minutes that revealed that one of the characters that we thought was dead from last season actually did live and is very much alive, and they are definitely a key to what goes on here the rest of the season. Notice that I'm telling you things without telling you things, so I'm not ruining it for you. We've been doing a pretty good job, at least on my part of the internet, of people not giving a lot of spoilers, so I'm trying my best not to do that, but I do definitely want to encourage you to watch it. If you want to watch a good show and you don't mind the violence and the profanity and what have you, Power Book 2 is definitely a good show to check out. I'm definitely looking forward to watching episode 3. I have not seen it yet, but based on these first 2 episodes of this season, I definitely think it's going to be a good one. I will say that we definitely going to lose some main characters soon, I think. It's just too hot on the block in general, and somebody got to die. You know, that's usually the case with the Power series. Basically, the people that you think are going to be around for a while, we end up losing a couple of them along the way, or they dip off and then they get back in it. The police situation is very crazy right now with all the different agencies that's trying to figure out who is what and what is who and who needs to go down and what have you. Just keeping up with that alone is a lot, but you definitely want to check it out. I suggest if you are going to be lost, to start with season 1, you basically can go, I believe, on Stars and catch the first couple seasons. I think maybe even, I want to say, maybe not HBO Max, but there is another one of those streaming services that have the first 2 seasons. Maybe it's Hulu. It might be Hulu, where you can catch the first 2 seasons. And if you want to go back to the very, very beginning, you can go back to the first 6 seasons of the original Power and check that out and see how that moves you. And at any rate, check it out. It's a good show, and we will continue to keep you updated from week to week on what's going on. It's really good. I can't wait to see it. So that being said, I am Eric B. the Nighthawk. This has been the Nighthawk. I Am Nighthawk Podcast. As you see, we are slowly but surely getting everything situated. We got a nice little background going on. We're going to work with that a little bit. You see, we got a little bit of an intro. We, basically between working and trying to get me situated and other such things, I'm not, basically because I am the technical support and executive producer and all that, it takes me a little time to get some of this stuff together. But rest assured, my friends, we will get it going and we'll have everything the way we want it in time. We even got a little pod-like page that we are working on. Hopefully we'll have that done sometime next week or two, and you'll be able to catch it. And I should be able to put some of the other shows that are part of the network together with it, so you have one central place to check it all out. As always, I want to encourage you guys to support my guy. That would be the infamous Hugh Lee and his endeavor known as not only Game Time Audible, but also, hold on, I got to go elsewhere to get that menu for you right quick. This right here, Pure to the Game. Pure to the Game, his sports blog that you can find on the Facebook page, where he keeps up with all the latest sports news and big goings on in the sports world. You can catch it there on the Pure to the Game page with my dude Hugh Lee. He will get you together. We do thank you and him and everybody else that tunes in to the show and all the shows in the network and that support us along the way. We very much appreciate you. Until next time, folks, I want to say, don't stress, be blessed, and let God deal with the rest, because that's how we got to do it. And we got to stop the violence and bring the love. I'm going to leave it at that. As you know, we have no outro yet, so you're going to get it the way we started it, y'all. Peace out, baby.